Hello, welcome to this Hatha Yoga session, the theme of which is stillness. So jump into something comfy. If you've got a yoga mat, get it ready and I'll join you in a sec. So today we're going to be standing up and sitting down a couple of times, so just bear with me. So come to standing firstly, and we're going to bring our feet together, so our toes are touching and our heels are touching. And we're just going to spend a moment here before we do anything else. So maybe you'd like to close your eyes. Just allow your hands and your arms to drop by your sides. And begin to tune in to your body. And notice whether you're kind of moving from side to side, front and back, as you kind of find your center of gravity. And notice whether those movements are subtle or whether they feel quite big. Notice whether they're constant or not so constant. And notice how you feel about them. Maybe you do a quick body scan here, scanning the body from the top of the head all the way down to the tips of the toes, just noticing any sensations. And when you reach the tips of the toes, scanning all the way back up for any sensations. And bring your awareness now to your breath. Just noticing the quality of your breath in this moment. So maybe it helps to give a couple of labels to the breath. So just noticing whether it's fast or slow, shallow or deep, or somewhere in between. So rather than trying to make judgments of the breath and try to change the breath, this practice today is all about being in the present and accepting the natural unfolding of the present moment without trying to change it, without having this attachment to what we believe the present moment should look like. So if the breath is shallow, let it be shallow. If the breath is fast, let it be fast. And just notice how that feels for you. It might feel very different to how it usually feels. This might be something which is not so common for you, just to allow the body and the breath to be as they are. So just noticing that. And bring your awareness to your mind, just noticing any thoughts, any judgments. We're often our biggest critics. And so I invite you in this practice to allow yourself to be and to open yourself up to the present moment. Life can be messy and not always straightforward. And what's interesting about letting the present be is that we allow all of that messiness to exist, rather than trying to push it away, rather than trying to aim for perfection. We're just being rather than doing. And while doing is also something that's very important, it's very nurturing to also spend time being. And when you're ready, bring your hands into prayer at your heart center. You might want to set an intention for your practice today. Maybe something you'd like to feel. It might be that you'd like to feel more calm, maybe more stillness. And when you're ready, take a nice big inhale, the biggest inhale you've taken all day. And as you exhale, drop your chin down to your chest in gratitude for this present moment. And on your next inhale, gently bringing the head up, and you can gently open your eyes. So we're going to sit down again. Like I said, there's a little bit of standing and sitting in today's practice. So I mentioned the theme of today is stillness, and that theme we're going to explore in this session through movement and through stillness in each pose. But what I find really interesting is finding stillness in between the poses. So as we transition from one pose to another, can we find stillness there? So we're going to start with some breath work, some pranayama, and today we're doing Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing. This breath work is really good for balancing our masculine and feminine energies. And so the idea is that we all have both masculine and feminine energy within us, whether we're male or female, or somewhere in between. And the idea is that masculine energy is the energy of doing. It's the energy of getting things done. It's the energy of just kind of movement towards things. So in our work lives, we tend to spend a lot of time in the masculine, pushing forward, all of those kind of energies. And feminine energy is about being. So it's about listening to the body, going inwards. And that's why I think we, in the Western world especially, I think we don't spend as much time maybe as we used to in our feminine energy. And so this is why I find yoga really amazing. So Nadi Shodhana is going to help us to balance those two energies. So let's begin. We're going to take our right hand, drop the middle 3 fingers, and we're going to use our thumb to kind of close our right nostril and our little finger to close our left nostril. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breathing in a kind of triangular kind of motion. And we're going to be inhaling through the left, exhaling through the right, inhaling through the right, exhaling through the left. So we're kind of going back and forth. And I will talk you through a couple of rounds, and then we'll do a few rounds by ourselves. So maybe just take a couple of breaths here just to center yourself, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Make sure you're sitting comfortably, keeping your back straight. If that's a bit of a struggle, you can always kind of perch yourself on a cushion or sit maybe against the wall. And when you're ready, we'll begin our Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to close our right nostril with our thumb. Take a nice big inhale through the left nostril. So these breaths are long and deep, so no need to rush or to kind of inhale really sharply. Switch and exhale through the right nostril. Inhale right. Switch, exhale left. Inhale left. Switch, exhale right. Inhale right. Switch, exhale left. Inhale left. Switch, exhale right. Inhale right. Switch, exhale left. And we'll do a few more rounds of this at our own pace. So let's do 5 more rounds. And keeping the breath long and slow, and see if you can keep your attention on the sensation of the breath. So we're finding stillness here. And whenever your mind wanders, just keep bringing it back. So 5 rounds, beginning in the left nostril. And 1 round is left to right, right to left. So you always start the round in the left nostril. And if you find that one nostril is completely blocked, just kind of keep trying, give it a go. You might find that it unblocks during the process of this breath work. So just complete the round that you're on, and then you can just drop your hands into your lap. Just taking a couple of deep breaths into both nostrils. And gently opening your eyes. And we're going to come up to standing. So coming back up, and we're bringing our feet together again. So toes are touching, heels are touching. Drop the hands by the sides. And again, close your eyes. And just notice how you feel now. Noticing any change to your balance, to your center of gravity. Noticing any change to your breath. Maybe your nostrils feel more open. And noticing any change to your mind. You might feel calmer or clearer. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes again. And I just find it quite interesting to notice and to connect with my body. Just to notice these little small nuances and how the breath work affects me. So it's just good to know. It's kind of a nice practice. Okay, so just bring your feet to hip width apart, and we're just going to push through the toes and through the heels. So just kind of bringing the weight to the whole of the foot. And we're going to bring our hands in front of us, and we're going to really spread the fingers wide. So spreading the fingers as wide as you can. See if you can get the thumbs to point towards each other. And then squeezing and stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze. Just taking stock of how your hands are feeling today. Mine are feeling a bit stiff because it's quite cold in here. So just noticing what's going on for you today without judgment. Just acknowledging there is stiffness, there is cold, and that is my experience of this moment. Good. And then we're going to bring the thumbs in and the fingers in and drawing circles with the wrist, and really enjoy this, staying with the sensations. And we'll go the other way. So one really interesting thing about this particular breath work that we did today, Nadi Shodhana, is that it's very much connected with the masculine and feminine energies, like I said. And the idea is that the right nostril connects with the masculine side of us, and the left nostril connects with the feminine side of us. You could just drop your hands down, maybe give them a shake. And we're going to lift up one foot, whichever one. Stretch out the toes, squeeze them. Really try and make space between each toe. And so the idea is when we come out of Shavasana, I always ask you to roll over onto your right side. And the idea behind that is that when you're lying on your right side, it's quite common for your left nostril to open up as the, I suppose, blood and anything else rushes into your right nostril. And so that helps us to be in this state of rest and repair, which is the feminine energy. And just rotating from the ankle. So yeah, that's why we roll over onto our right side. And we'll go the other way. So the idea in a lot of Eastern medicine, so Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, which is Indian medicine, is we can just change the foot. So bring the other foot up, start stretching and squeezing the toes. So the idea is that we have energy channels which run through our body. So in Ayurveda, we call them nadis, energy channels, and in Chinese medicine, they call them meridians. So they are something, I believe I actually read a paper recently about how they're being picked up now in Western medicine. But the idea is, so you can just begin to move through the ankle. The idea is that these energy channels cross at 6 points in the center of our body, and those are our chakras. Those are our energy centers. And we have a similar thing in Chinese medicine. And you can go the other way. Good. Okay, and just give your legs a little shake. I think we'll also do some shoulder rolls. So just drop your hands by your sides. Just notice, so just kind of look down at your hands and notice where your thumbs are pointing. So ideally, we want our thumbs to be pointing forwards. So if they're pointing towards you, which is very common, so if you're like this, it's just an idea to notice that my shoulders might be kind of coming forwards and in a little bit too much. So just noticing that, and noticing that it might be an idea to do a little bit of shoulder opening. It's really, really common to have that because we spend a lot of time on computers and things like that. So just a case of noticing where your thumbs are. You might be somewhere in between. Either way, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. But I just find it really interesting to notice what's going on with my body. Okay, so we're going to, we were going to do some shoulder rolls. Losing my marbles. Okay, so we're going to just roll the shoulders. So forward, up, and back. And see if you can isolate the movement just to the shoulder muscles. So it's quite common to kind of like use your neck in there as well, but see if you can just isolate those muscles around the shoulders. Good. Just beginning to warm up those all-important shoulders. Maybe we take a couple of side stretches here as well. So again, just give yourself a little shake, and we're just going to inhale as we come over to one side. So try not to come forward and try not to arch back. So we want to be like, imagine that there's a pane of glass in front of you and a pane of glass behind you. So you're roughly just staying quite straight. And then we'll come to the other side. So we always inhale as we come down. Sorry, my microphone's on this side, so I'm finding it a bit difficult to come down on this side. But we always inhale as we come down just to protect all of the muscles, joints, especially the spine. So everything in the thoracic cavity, as we inhale, it kind of really protects it. That's why we inhale as we come into a back bend. Okay, if you feel like it, you can go a couple more times. And when you're ready, you can give yourself another shake, and we're gonna do a couple of sun salutations. So this time we're gonna try a different variation on our sun salutation. So we usually do quite traditional hatha sun salutations, and today we're going to kind of transition a little bit into more Ashtanga style sun salutations. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, that's perfectly fine. They're just different styles of yoga. So we're going to bring our feet hip width apart. And from here, we're going to take a nice big inhale, bringing the hands up. Exhale, folding forwards. If the hands come onto the mat, that's great. If not, you can just bring your fingers onto the mat. And we're going to inhale here. This is halfway lift. So the back comes kind of fairly straight and we're looking forwards. Exhale, hands come onto the mat, and you can step or jump the hands back into this plank position. And from here, either drop the knees or you can keep the knees up, and we're going to press down. So, and then drop the legs, and we're coming into upward dog. So rather than cobra, this is a new one. You can either keep the knees down, you can even keep the toes tucked if that feels good for you, or bring the thighs off the mat. And then coming into downward dog. So either drop the knees, tuck the toes and come up, or it can be quite painful, but rolling over the toes. Coming into our downward dog, lifting through the hips, pushing through the hands, equal weight in the hands and the feet. You can walk the dog here if you'd like to. And we're here for 5 deep breaths. If you'd like to use Ujjayi breath, feel free. Looking between the hands, either step or jump the hands forward, and we're coming again into that halfway lift, looking forward. Exhale, hands come down again, so we're forward folding again. Inhale, hands come all the way up, and then back to center. And then we drop the hands into Samasthiti. When you're ready, we'll do the same thing again, inhaling up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down, step or jump back. Plank, either drop the knees or press down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. 5 deep breaths. Lifting the hips. Looking between the hands, inhale, step the legs forward, halfway lift, looking forwards. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, center, and dropping the hands into Samasthiti. We'll do 2 more. If you can remember, feel free to do this at your own pace. If not, you can just look up at the video. So whenever you're ready, 2 more. And just complete the round that you're on. And we'll just take a moment here to, again, check in with our bodies. So feet can be either hip width or feet together. And drop your hands, close your eyes. Check in with how you're feeling. Notice any changes to the body, to the breath, to the mind. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to come back to the top of our mats. We're going to do a nice flow here, and we're going to focus on finding stillness between the poses. This is something that I had never actually considered in all of my years of practicing until recently, when I watched a friend's practice, and rather than moving from one pose to another, she was kind of moving and transitioning very slowly. And I practiced with her and I found it very challenging. So I thought I would share that with you today. So we're going to come into Warrior One, and the key here for this flow is not to rush into the next pose. So I found that all of my practicing life, I found that I was kind of just wanting to get into the next pose, or being in one pose and thinking about the next one. And so I invite you here to just be. So if you're transitioning from one pose to another, be in that space of transition. So just staying really, really present and not rushing into the next pose. So we're going to start in Warrior One. So bringing, I think you can choose either leg for this. So depending on which way you're facing the camera. So I'm going to start on my right. So I'm bringing my right leg back, but I'm not rushing into Warrior One. So I'm just going to slowly send the leg back, finding the mat behind me. So my toes are on the mat, and I'm going to slowly bring my hands up into prayer. So this is Warrior One. Lengthening through the spine. And from here, I'm going to come into Twisted Warrior. So very slowly, I'm going to bring my right elbow to the outside edge of my left thigh. And if this is really challenging, you can always drop your back knee. And from here, I'm going to begin to twist my torso away from the camera, so towards my hands, until my hands are in the center of my chest. And of course, if they don't quite reach, that's absolutely fine. Just go to wherever feels good for you. And from here, I'm going to very slowly untwist, looking back down to the mat. I'm going to rotate my back foot, so the heel is going to drop down. And I'm straightening that front leg. I'm doing this all very slowly, just so I can experience the transition fully. So coming into Trikonasana triangle pose. The top hand is coming straight up. Bottom hand is resting very gently on the shin or maybe on the thigh. So opening that right hip upwards, opening the right shoulder, looking up at the top hand. Again, just being here, making a real effort to stay present. And then keeping the legs where they are, slowly reversing that triangle. Stay with the sensations, find stillness, even in the transition. And then I'm going to slowly come into Warrior Two. So hands come slowly back. The front leg bends. And then I'm going to come back into my Warrior One. So I'm going to twist my back foot onto the toes, bring my arms up, and then as slowly as I can, I'm going to come back to standing. And drop the hands. Same on the other side. So slowly bringing that left foot back as we transition into our Warrior One. See how it feels to try this flow with your eyes closed. And coming into revolved warrior, my left elbow is going to come to the outside of my right thigh. And from here, twisting to face my hands, hands come into the center of the chest. So I'm sending my right shoulder backwards. Looking back down towards the floor, untwisting, back foot revolves so that the heel comes down, straighten the front leg, and windmill the hands up into triangle. Looking at the top hand, and then slowly reversing that triangle. Staying with the breath, staying with the movement, staying in the present moment, coming slowly into warrior two, bending that front leg. And then twisting back into warrior one, coming onto the toes of the back foot. And then as slowly as I can, coming back to standing. Good. And again, take a moment to feel any shift. That felt quite profound for me. So just allowing that information to sink into your body. Allowing some time for your body and your mind to process that information. Okay, good. So we'll come back to the center of our mats and we're going to let's do tree. But the difference is we usually kind of grab hold of our ankle and yank our foot up. This time in the spirit of stillness and of slow transition, we're not going to use our hand to lift up our ankle. So we'll start with the right foot. So really rooting through that left foot, pushing the foot down into the mat or into the ground. And we're going to lift up that right leg. And it might be that your foot doesn't come up as high as it usually does. As long as it's not resting on the knee, that's fine. So either above or below the knee. And if you lose your balance, just come back in. And hands might come into the center of your chest. Or they might come above your head. And again, keep it slow. Find that stillness. Lifting through the crown of the head and feeling the sensation of rooting through your hips, your tailbone. So feeling a kind of a pulling in both directions. And when you're ready, bring your hands slowly down. Bring your knee in and foot comes down. Same on the other side. So pushing through the toes and the heel of the right foot. Bring the left up, and without using your hands, just bring it onto your leg somewhere above or below the knee. And hands might come into prayer at the heart center. Maybe they come up. Finding a stillness here. And when you're ready, hands come down, knee comes in, foot comes slowly down. And drop your hands down. We'll do warrior 3 now. So again, rooting into that left foot. There are 2 options. Either hands stay by the sides of your hips, or they come out in front of you. So what we're going to do, again, keep this as slow as you can. So no rushing to get into the pose. We're going to send the right leg back slowly. And hands either come to either sides of your hips, or they come to either sides of your ears in a kind of T shape. And if you fall out again, just see how slowly you can come back in. And when you're ready, slowly coming back in. Same on the other side. So slowly sending that left leg back. Make sure you're not tilting your hips to one side or the other. And when you're ready, slowly coming out. Give yourself a nice shake. And we're going to come back to the top of our mats. Feet are hip width apart. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, bring your hands down. Maybe you grab hold of your shins or your big toes. And we'll just take a moment just to release our backs. Allow your head to hang. Feeling a nice stretch in the hamstrings maybe. Sending the hips up. And when you're ready, we'll bring the hands onto the mat. And we're just going to step both legs back and come to lying down on our bellies. So you can either bring your hands palm facing up and just bring one ear onto the mat. If that's not so comfortable, you can come into crocodile. So making a pillow with your hands, their palms facing down, and the forehead rests on the pillow. Toes are together, heels are out. And we're just coming to our belly breath for a moment. Focusing on breathing into the belly. And this kind of belly breath in crocodile, it's also called crocodile breathing, is really helpful for calming our nervous system. So if you're ever having a stressful time, just give it a try, see how it feels. So really focusing on the sensations in your body as you breathe into the belly. And when you're ready, we're going to come into Shalabhasana. So zipping up the feet, and we're going to take our hands behind our backs, and if you can, interlace them. If that's not available to you, maybe you just kind of place them on the sides of your hips. So whatever feels good for you. If your shoulders are tight, this might not feel so good. And on your next inhale, lift up your chest and really squeezing the shoulders back and down behind you. So you're kind of trying to bring the elbows towards each other. And for now, we're going to keep the hands resting on our glutes. And hold here for a few more moments. And when you're ready, coming back down into crocodile, or bringing the opposite ear onto the mat. Coming back to our belly breath, our crocodile breath. And just noticing how the body feels. I'm noticing a chest opening from having the hands behind my back and from squeezing the elbows towards each other. So just noticing the effects of that pose on the body, on the breath, and on the mind. When you're ready, we'll prepare again. So zipping up the feet, pushing the feet and the legs towards each other. Bring the hands behind your back, and maybe if you want to interlace them, you can. You can just grab hold of them, or you can just keep them on your hips. And when you're ready, inhale, coming up, and we're going to lift the hands a little bit away from the glutes, keeping the feet on the ground, holding here, shoulders are down and back. And release. Coming back into the crocodile, or bringing the other ear onto the mat. Belly breath. And in the last round, we'll bring the legs up as well. So when you're ready, zip up the legs, pushing the feet towards each other. Bring the hands interlaced behind your back or just on your hips. And on your next inhale, lifting the chest, lifting the legs, lift the hands away from the glutes. Shoulders are back and down. Hold here. 3, 2, 1, good. And we're going to come into child's pose, extended child's pose. So bring the knees a little bit away from each other, feet are together, and we're going to sit back onto the heels, and the arms are out in front of us. If this doesn't feel great on your shoulders, you can just come into normal child's pose. So we're reaching forward with the hands as we push the hips back down onto the heels. ready, gently coming up, and we're going to cross our ankles behind us and just sit onto our heels, bring our legs in front of us. Okay, and from here, we're going to bend our left leg, send the knee out to the side. So the sole of the foot is kind of resting on the thigh. If that's not so comfortable, you can just feel free to keep both legs out in front of you. So if you've got any knee issues. And then we're going to inhale, back straight. Exhale, folding over that front leg. Maybe you choose to hold onto the shin or the ankle or the big toe. Allowing the back to release here. Staying with the sensations. Staying with the breath. When you're ready, gently and slowly come up, and we'll switch the legs. So the left leg comes out, right sole of the foot comes towards the thigh. Inhale here and exhale, folding forwards. Maybe you grab hold of the shin or the ankle or the big toe. Maybe you notice that this side feels very different. And just staying with the sensations, staying with the breath. And when you're ready, we'll very slowly and gently roll up. And before we come into our final pose, we'll just come into one happy baby. This is quite a fun one. And so we're going to lie on our backs. And there are two options here. Either you bring your hands to the outsides of your legs and grab hold of the soles of your feet with your fingers, or you can try bringing the hands inside your legs and then you come to the outsides and grab hold of the soles of your feet. And what we want to do is keep the soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling. And maybe you like to rock from side to side a little bit, just giving your back a nice massage. And now we come into our final pose, Shavasana. So bring your feet to the outside edges of your mat. If you have an eye pillow, I definitely recommend you put one on. If you don't have one, check them out. I sell them on my website. So bringing your eye pillow over your eyes. And bring your hands, palms facing up, a little bit away from the body. And just take a moment to get comfortable here. to relax your forehead, softening the forehead, allowing any tension to be released. Bring your awareness to your eyes and your cheeks and your jaw, softening through all the muscles, allowing any tension to be released. Bring your awareness to your neck and your shoulders. Allow the shoulders to rest on the mat, letting go of any tension. Bring your attention into your arms and your hands and your fingers, softening and allowing any tension to be released. Bring your awareness to your chest and your abdomen and your back, releasing any tension in the spine and allowing a softness. Bring your awareness to your hips, softening through the hips, softening through the hips, allowing any tension to release. And bring your awareness into your legs and your feet and your toes, allowing any tension to melt away, finding a softness. And as I play my singing bowl, I invite you to find a sense of stillness within yourself. And I invite you to be with that sense of stillness for as long as you can. If thoughts arise, just come back as soon as you can to that sense of stillness behind the thoughts. follow the sound for as long as you can. And when you're ready, keeping your eyes closed, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Keeping your eyes closed, roll over onto your right side. And keeping your eyes closed, come slowly to your comfortable sitting position. Bring your hands into prayer at your heart center. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, drop your chin to your chest in gratitude for this practice today. Maybe you want to release your intention here. And on your next inhale, bring your head up. Keeping your eyes closed, rub your palms together. Place your palms over your eyes. With a few blinks, open your eyes into your palms and slowly lower your hands down. Thank you for practicing with me, and I hope to see you next time.